We're continuing our conversations this morning and getting into things. Jubilee is jubilating. We don't know. Let's wait and see.
Jubilee is jubilating.
And that's the voice of the Secretary General, Jeremiah Kioni. He's here this morning.
We are happy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Happy, okay.
There's jubilation.
There's somewhere. Okay. Oh, to have survived.
We are happy to have survived.
All right.
3 years of legal battles. It's not a joke.
Things are moving forward.
Yes.
Well, we'll see how those are, and that's the conversation that we have this morning. Thank you for making time to be with us this morning as we get into this conversation, because everybody's having a conversation about what's happening. And then the questions rise in terms of, all right, this party that formed a coalition and that also formed a party out of other parties, as it were, what's happening? So we'll get into that in just a minute. But as you know, we go to a different African country every week, Jeremiah. This week we're in Guinea, and the proverb for today, which we'd love to hear from you about, to make preparations does not spoil the trip. To make preparations does not spoil the trip.
It's good to plan,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't plan, you will have planned to fail.
Precisely, right?
You and Kevin were on the same page. Yep. Okay.
So you're planning effectively.
We are planning.
Wow. Great.
I see our colleagues, the ODM, are also planning. It's a question of where are you on the plan.
Right.
It
And
can
what
be
exactly
turbulent. Hii Kenya yetu na siasa ni kali. Kama chakula siasa ingekuwa chakula.
Somebody would have had fun.
We would always have something to eat.
Indeed. Well, it's been gobbled up, that's for sure. The last couple of weeks have been quite something to go by. In terms of who's going to align with whom. We have many parties saying that, yes, we're going to have a surprise candidate. Others are saying we're going to field everybody. Is there need? And, we've asked this question, that is the opposition united? Well, I'm going to flip it a little bit and say, is there a need to have a united opposition in the first place? Do different parties who want to throw their hats in the ring in the future, at whatever level, do they actually need to be united? We've always said, no, the opposition should be united to overthrow the current government. Is that necessary?
I think the level of failure by the UDA government has forced Kenyans to be very fearful of failure to remove Kasongo. Kenyans are so scared of another 5 years of Kasongo that they would want to see everybody who is against Kasongo coming together. They also think that Kasongo being in power requires all of us being together for us to remove that government. So it's actually the fear of Kasongo that is forcing Kenyans to say, can you just stop thinking about anything else and come together and remove him first and foremost? Then we can deal with the others later.
So you agree with Rigathi Gachagua, because he said over this weekend in no uncertain terms that to the question where essentially the president called everybody stupid and said that all of these people, you don't even know what you're doing. He used quite a number of interesting adjectives to describe everybody in the supposed opposition and basically said, you don't have an agenda. Rigathi Gachagua said, the agenda is to remove you. That's the agenda. All these other things, we'll deal with them later. You agree?
The agenda for Kenyans is to remove Kasongo. But if you talk to people, they also know that after removing him, you need to do something. As parties in the opposition, as people who've been in leadership one time or another, what you do after removing him is more important than removing him. Because you also don't want to remove him, and within 100 days of being in power, people are already scheming to remove you. And if we don't pay attention to what we intend to do after removing him, then we will put the country into a spin. And you could easily suffer the wrath of Kenyans or of a populace, when they finally decide now to come in and remove you. That's how coups happen. If Kenyans are taken through another 5 years of this level of frustration, then you expect worse thing than waiting for another years to remove him whoever it is at 2032.
Indeed.
And that is why, on top of all the other things of Kasongo must go, one term, and all these things, it is important for those of us who are looking as giving alternative, not just to think of alternative in terms of staying in the office, but alternative in terms of what are you going to do? How different are you going to be when you eventually get into office? And those of us in the opposition have perhaps the unparalleled advantaged position where majority of the Kenyans have agreed this is a case foregone. We must do away with it.
Okay.
Once you have that kind of level of assurance from Kenyans that they will be voting somebody else other than Kasongo, then the responsibility is higher. I know some of us want to remain with that comfort zone that and look like, how can I be the one who takes over? But the responsibility is higher because Kenyans will be expecting much more than even the governments that have been there before. And I believe that that is what occupies my mind now as a party, Jubilee. If we are the ones looking for that opportunity, what is this we want to do? How are we going to do it? And also, how do you actually help Kenyans achieve what they want? Actualize this removal thing. And you're not going to do it by remaining, if I say this, for purposes of remaining in Spice forever. You've got to have an institution a vehicle. You have to have structures that can deliver presidency and remove a presidency. And it's not a small thing. It's not it's your kazlaisi.
Now, SG.
It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of money, and it takes a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the people who are looking for the top job, but people who are supporting you to do that.
No.
But it also takes two other things. You need a party that is an institution that has presence across the country. And you also need a candidate who people are not going to talk about a lot in the negative, so that they can now focus on the removal. But if we are still debating candidates, we are still debating many things. Remember, we were here with Azimio 2022, and one of the reasons why we found ourselves, there are quite a number of reasons, but one of the reasons why we found ourselves learning after the Hustler team was that even in April of 2022, we still did not know who our flag bearer was. And by the time we were done with that and we needed to go around the country, we may have forgotten that we needed agents, or we did not have people working on the agents. So again, we perhaps had a good candidate, but we didn't have the infrastructure that needed to deliver that candidate.
SG, I want to tilt a bit. First, come back to the Jubilee House. Because in the recent days, we've had your own party leader call you out, stop insult, for lack of a better word, to the would-be DCP party leader. And because everybody, when somebody speaks, they talk of Kenyans. Then we Kenyans are left wondering, is there a prominence in terms of moving Jubilee into the united coalition of the deputies?
Is there a prominence?
Yes. Is that a direction that Jubilee is taking? Because once we see your party leader telling you, tone down, especially you, I'm saying you because you are mentioned by name. What does this mean? Because the president on the other side is still calling people from Ukambani various names, the Ana Akili and all that. How do we sanitize our politics? Not necessarily about you as a person, but how do we sanitize our politics and move from personalities to issues? Because that is where Kenyans are focused. Yeah.
One of the things is, I was reading the book of Philippians, and you can read the book of First Philippians, verses 12 to 20, which was used in the sermon yesterday.
But you know that Philippians is only one SG.
In first chapter, Philippians chapter 1.
Yes.
Philippians chapter 1, 12 to 20. You can go through all the records that you have, including my pages, and I would want you to pick when it is that you found me insulting. Having said that, then I think it will you'd then need to interrogate that statement a little further, so that you get to understand
the context.
What else was he saying, maybe, or the context which was prevailing then. But having said that, is that the call, I would want to take the call to mean that can you concentrate on the issues so that you are answering to the difficulties Kenyans are going through, unless to the differences that people have among themselves. And I've said this before, I want to say it again, that I have no problem with Rigathi Gachagua myself. We were in parliament together. The only thing is that we have different positions. For example, when he talks about political parties and he says there is only one political party in the Mount Kenya region, I say that is not a position I hold. I was part of the crafting of this 2010 constitution. It costed people's lives. I would never want to get any other party. I'll compete with the parties that are available, that have gone through registration, and those kind of things. When you talk about the shareholding principle, I don't believe in the shareholding principle. I believe in one Kenyan, one vote, one sharing. Every Kenyan is a shareholder in this. So those differences, and when one articulates them, there are those who may think that is an insult, or they get very unhappy because some people are not happy in being criticized. But again, politics is about competition. It's about pushing your own ideology. What do you think about an issue? And it will be important for us to get to that level, certainly without calling each other's names. And I agree, insults are not useful. And as a Jubilee party, we would not want to entertain issues of insults. It doesn't help the party grow. I know, like, even now as I was walking in, that call I have received last is of anger. A lot of anger within the Jubilee fraternity, because they say again they were subjected to insults last night.
Yes,
I may need to update myself with the insults that may have happened. Maybe I was asleep, whatever it is. But I urge them, even when insulted, let us move on with this new directive that we have from our party leader. You remember him making an apology 2013. And it is a good place to start. It helps you think more soberly when you don't allow yourself to be cluttered with insults and whatever. But of course, there are people who may go out there insulting others on your behalf. And it's also not useful. Yes, because that's something that I don't think it helps. That has a lot to do. I don't say that because of our political platform, but I know I received beatings much earlier in life from my mother, who is now 100 years old, and she listens to radio. She may not be listening to the Kisugumigi about Tukonayo hapa, though she was my teacher, she can understand. And she will be surprised if I take on insulting somebody here now, even when she's 100 years old. And I know I've been insulted with her. I mean, I don't want to dwell on this maneno insult, but they came to my own constituency and insulted her the other day. Kwa hii mambo tu. So if it is to complain us on the insult, I could be complaining more than others, because I know I've received a fair share of insults for the last 3 years, especially when I was fighting for Jubilee, from people from outside Jubilee, and even from people within the party. But saa zingine tunasema hiyo ni chakula ya kukula ukitembea kwa siasa.
Yes.
I'm just wondering,
looking at just a bit of follow-up on the Jubilee. We have the Presidential Retirement Act, which happens to stipulate that once you leave office as a president, you ought not to hold a political party position office 6 months after. Your party leader he's still the party leader. 6 months way after he left office. And given even your understanding of the law, do you think he's in breach?
No, he's not.
In terms
we
of,
challenge that constitutionally, and the challenge remains there. Again, as Section or Article 38 of the Constitution allows you to associate politically in all ways. So it is a piece of legislation that was enacted by Parliament, and I think I may have been in that Parliament. Sections of it were challenged in the Constitutional Court. I hold that nobody's right should be curtailed, and it is bad to do laws that are targeting individuals. I think that time when we had what was in mind may have been people might have been targeting Moi or such kind of things, but it comes to haunt you. So I don't think he is in breach, and certainly not from the constitutional point of view. Others have gone even as point of quoting other jurisdiction, but you can look at even the U.S. Our constitution has a lot to do with the U.S. Constitution, and former heads of states are invited quite often, almost every other 4 years, to come and help shape the direction parties take. And when you had a party that you used to run a country for 10 years, I think you owe it some level of guidance when you are in power and when you are out of power. So I think that from that constitutional point of view, I believe, and I'm happy that he's guiding us. Yes. In any case, outside even being the leader of Jubilee Party, when he went to Nyayo Stadium, or even at Jomo Kenyatta, when the former Prime Minister remains were brought back to the country, the Kenyans themselves seems to be happy to see him and to hear him give them some guidance. So whoever had doubts as to whether he is useful, the Kenyans themselves said tunampenda na tungependa aseme kidogo kwa sababu ya ile shida tuko nayo. So there we go.
As Kevin comes in, SG, we have a very decent constitution. It provides laws that if only we practiced, we would have a flourishing country. You've had the privilege of trying to shape government. Even at some point, you are a running mate to a presidential candidate. Today we have a very thorny symptom, which is poor governance, bad leadership. And that's why Kenyans unanimously we are saying this regime has to be suspended come the 10th of August 2027.
Can you remember some of us wanted it earlier?
Yes.
Until you came with a one term. We wanted it gone.
We wanted it gone.
Yesterday.
We're just trying to anchor ourselves within a constitution so that we don't create a crisis again. Like you said, if somebody comes in, it's subject to discussion.
All right.
But if somebody comes in, we don't want a replica of the same. As you said, 100 days, we are saying Kioni must go, assuming you are the president then. So then what is our core issue? What is the one problem that as we send this regime home, we have to be focused, hell-bent, that this must happen for us as a country to open the doors of prosperity?
We were in Muranga, when was this? 2 weeks ago? Or thereabout?
Thereabout.
Where when the president was talking about the need to ensure that people do not insult one another. From the same speech, he gave us a story. He did it in Kikuyu. But he was reminding us of a marketplace where two Wazirs went to a market, and in the market they found two animals. One was a monkey, the other one was a goat. And the monkey was there entertaining people, and two Wazirs sat there. They were very happy with what the monkey was doing, and one Mzee decided to buy a monkey so that he could be entertained when he goes back home. And the other one decided to buy a goat. And both of them went back home with animals. And the question is, when you go to the marketplace to choose leaders, it's upon you to choose the leader that you want. Do you want to choose a monkey, or do you want to take home a goat? What he was saying is this: we have a constitution that is good, but it's a question of what you want. Do you want a monkey to be in charge of that constitution, or do you want a goat to be in charge of that constitution. You can even look at it from this other side. Do you want a person who makes the decision of buying a monkey or a person who makes a decision of buying a goat? So the choice is ours. And again, all of you are there. 2002, Kibaki comes into power under the same constitution that Moi was using to run this country, and we ended up with a negative economic growth. He used the same constitution for 10 years. We ended up with 8-point-something economic growth. So while we improved our constitution by the 2010 constitution, the fact that you need a human being behind it, or the human resource to implement the law, did not change. And that responsibility was still left with the Kenyans to make a choice as to who do they want to run their affairs. And that is why, even as we look at 2027, and the individuals are before there, you look at the quality, the character of the individuals that were there. And my urge to Kenyans is, again, please do not make the same mistakes. Look at the track record of an individual. There's nothing else that speaks about a person more than the track record. And if you can use the track record of a person, and you are likely to get it right. But if you use emotions and justification that are neither here or there, then you are likely to again go back to 2032 and saying another one term. And and I know many of us, and that's why I'm inviting you to look at the records that are there in the page. Internet is a good thing. It's a nice thing because unlike the essays you were writing before, here Yendi, tasomwa pale tu. Look at the track record of each and every of the individuals. I think we have 2, 3, 4 people who have said they want to run. And don't shy away from saying Akia Mungu umetusaidia hii kitu ya kusukuma Ruto aende nyumbani, lakini hii tabia hapo beleni inaonekana kama si mzuri, na tutaendelea na wewe, lakini hii ya kwenda bele, we another look for somebody, whatever. I mean, and Kenyans are really looking for new minds. I'm sure that is why individuals like Winnie would excite ODM following, sababu hawajui mambo, hana shida kubwa huko nyuma, hana hata sijui kidogo yake nyuma ambayo iko shida. So there is that kind of thing. But Kenyans also fail when we finally come very near the ballot box. I don't know what happens. We quickly forget what we were looking for and are taken away by the sloganeering, people who have ways of telling good stories, but people who can perform. It's really the case that we give them opportunity to perform in this country. In fact, somebody yesterday said, I think it was the preacher, said it's like we have a way of liking bad things, and even being happy with people whom we were unhappy with there before. That's a kind. It was coming from the pulpit. I hope I am not quoting my pastor.
It's called Stockholm syndrome.
Yes, Stockholm syndrome.
I'm just wondering, because when we started the conversation, you made reference to some of the challenges that Azimio had, that therefore made it difficult for your presidential candidate to win the election, and you picked one of those challenges as probably lack of agents. The second one you mentioned, there was a delay in agreeing on your presidential candidate, among several others. But I'm just wondering, in the revamped Jubilee, what is the strategy? Because seated here as a voter and listening to your conversation against the other competitors, it doesn't appear like the party is keen to, bring out this political euphoria, which I think is part of what you are referring to as Kenyans liking, having some affinity to negative things or bad things, until you wait for the last minute, somebody comes with a slogan that looks nice, but is really not nice. Because if you look at, for example, the by-elections that are happening, out of 23 by-elections, I think Jubilee has one slot. You pulled out of Kariobangi North to support the Wiper candidate.
We have only 2.
Yeah, why is
Narok
this?
and Uguja.
Why is this especially for a party
I
that
think
has?
Narok pulled out.
No,
Yeah.
Not
no,
yet.
no,
Okay.
he didn't.
Yeah, so we would have I would have expected maybe to see a platform that would, send Jubilee as a very strong uprising party coming from the legal issues that you've had, the institutional challenges, and I see you have come with a Jubilee party constitution. So I would have probably seen a newness, in some revamped Jubilee to be able to arouse the ground and plant, quote unquote, candidates in almost all the seats. So what is this strategy?
And politics, timing is everything.
Exactly.
And that was a conscious decision that we took. We had not, by that time, we didn't even have our own constitution, this constitution in place.
Yeah.
It had not been okayed by the powers that be in the name of political parties, register of political parties, and many other things that we've been doing in the party. And I believe that by the time the dates were being given, we still had some legal issues that we needed to clear in the courts. And a decision was made that we cannot just plunge ourselves into a competition that we are not prepared to do. So it was a decision that we took. And again, having been there for 10 years, having seen what happened 2022, you also don't want to rush into a scenario and you embarrass yourself. Two is that those are not few by-elections. 27 by-elections are many. And any opposition party that would want to take on all of them and have an impact, you would need to have some good resources with you. And you'll have to be competing, not just in terms of winning, but also in terms of the amount of money you can commit to that process. And still be careful that you are left with something come 2027.
Yeah.
Number three is that some of the resources you do want to rely on are coming from the same government you want to remove. And we have seen a clear indication from William that this is a tool that he is going to use against the opposition parties, withholding funding from the political party FAD's account or FAD. Number three is that it was also not very clear to us in terms of if we are talking about united opposition, how are we getting into this? We have a lot of statements we make outside, but in terms of a document that you can lead and say, when you are in Bere, this is my responsibility as Jubilee Party, that is still not available to us. And even engaging at the united opposition platform, was limited on our part. Because again, people expected me to be going to those meetings daily, but I have had quite a lot to do. We are preparing for NDC to ensure that we do the tidying up of our areas and the rest. And to a point where people started saying, when you are not frequent there. We had our neck. Now we know who is it that we should be expecting there. It's Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who is also a presidential candidate. And I also would want to say this, and for the benefit perhaps of many. To me, the outcome of these by-elections is not indicative of the preparedness level of the opposition. And it should never, it will not, I would be using it to see how will IBC behave going to 2027. And I'm on the lookout to see what is it that we can lead from the IBC. Remember, we just have commissioners. The secretariat is still the old one. So this is still the old vehicle that was there. And my position is that we need to also do away with the secretariat in good time. So long and short of it is that even the case of Narok is and Uguja, these are young people who came and said, please, and really wanted the tickets, and we gave them. The Narok candidate is still our candidate. He's not what I've heard others saying, that he has pulled out. But my lesson from perhaps what I've seen from UDA is one of the things they are going to use 2027 is buying of candidates. Whoever you feud as opposition, and that's why every party must prepare well, better than we are doing, as an individual party, not as a movement. Because when you're in that movement of united opposition, it covers the level of preparedness of the individual parties.
Yeah.
And it makes it very difficult for you to remove William. The parties must prepare because their candidates will be bought kama jugu karanga kwa soko. They will be bought at all levels.
Yeah.
And I can give you that case of Narok. That young man is being bombarded with offers.
Yes.
If what he is telling us is anything to go by. And I have no reason to doubt. So you need characters. Candidates who have character. One who cannot... The people believe in something other than there is the money that is put on the table. But one of the things UDA will be using 2027 is to buy so that they have more candidates unopposed. Because they fear the eventual casting of the ballot.
Yes.
And the Kenyans having resolved that you must leave office,
Yes.
They are likely to be the agents everywhere. And leaguing might be very difficult, given even what I saw at Jomo Kenyatta.
Yes.
If the young people who came for the remains of Raila come for you because you are stealing votes at a polling station, I want to tell you, you'll take off before they get anywhere near. And that's how it will be across the country.
No.
But as all of this is playing out,
the leaguing tactics for UDA
May not prevail.
will be very different. But if they have no candidates
Yes.
vying against their own, then it becomes difficult.
Then here, SG, you
Yes.
have the impeached deputy president, who is the party leader of the DCP, trying to cajole people into a one-party system, in my opinion, which I think would pose a greater threat, as you say, because if now you're going head-to-head against this regime and that one would be party system, so it's one candidate against the other, and then they are compromised, that will open the doors for what you're saying, that people will go unopposed, and others will just find mechanisms of having this regime continue, which is a threat. Now, I'm just wondering, should our goal right now be trying to organize like this, the coalition of the deputies, because they were all former deputies, Kalonzo, Gachagua, Martha Karua. Should we
Matiang'i was not a former deputy.
I did not mention him. I did not mention him.
No, I hope you forgot like the others occasionally forget. I can see.
Yes.
Anyway,
So my thinking is that we as Kenyans, we perhaps should be organizing, because the UDA regime is not all powerful than the Kenyans. We are the people. We have the numbers. We shall be voting. So when we are cajoled into parties, just to elevate one of them, because eventually they want to say that it's going to be one of them who is going to be a presidential candidate, whom to many Kenyans is not an option because they do not provide an ideological difference yet to Kenyans. I see that as a setup, perhaps, for us making the same mistake twice, like you said. And yet we, the people, we are going to have our own presidential candidate. We are going to vote on an idea. But you don't want to have a conflict, ideally, with the political class against the people, and yet the enemy is the same, is the one regime. Shouldn't those people be asking the people, what do you want? Instead of saying, we are going to give you a candidate.
I believe that what we should be doing ourselves is to sell kila mtu anajiuza kwa hii soko. And very, very vigorously. So that Kenyans can then decide that given what I have had, I think let's go with her. If you are persuaded and you want her to run, you will go with her.
Yes.
Not through coercion.
No.
But you also make a decision and say, looks like I'm not going to have enough votes. I go that direction.
Okay.
I am a little worried about the way we are being coerced and literally to the point where I told when you have a different view, you are categorized as a person who is insultive.
Yes.
That is not going to help us. It is not going to help us. Remember, this Mwai Kibaki. When people are organizing 2002, 2007, and actually even 2007 is even a better case Forget about 2002. 2007, people are making one party for him and everybody else to come into it. When he said, I am going to be in PNU, and he was actually even ready to run alone. Wewe enda tafuta kura yako. Wewe tafuta kura yako. Kila mtu tafuta kura yako. He ended up winning 2007, but with the people from all other parties. We were only 29 in PNU. But we formed a coalition after the voting where we got to about 102 against ODM 103. And we had a difference of one person in parliament. I think something like that. And if you really are a leader, that is when you can do best. Because it is, you bring people together and you agree on an issue. And that's what I saw Kibaki do. Another gentleman who did this, maybe not I mentioning the same sentence, but related, Derito Moreidi. The way he managed like Kipia the other day was amazing. He was an independent candidate, governor.
Yes.
So he didn't have a single member of the county assembly who belonged to his side. All of them were from other political parties. But he was able to have them together. They never even threatened him with the impeachment. And he delivered.
But that was clear because Jeremiah, because
Yes.
it was very clear from the very beginning what his agenda was. The agenda was to make it better. The agenda was actually for the people of Laikipia. The agenda was that you're going to be the agent through which good governance and development then will be recognized. Can you ask and answer the same question of all these people who are keeping us rapt audience to these shenanigans that we are seeing? That there is pushing for a particular candidate, there's pushing people to see through this pie hole that this person is the one that you want. But we can't see that agenda, Jeremiah. If nobody has ever said it, let's say it here today. That the people of Kenya cannot see clearly from the people who are putting themselves up as agents for leadership that they actually care about the people of Kenya. It's not clear. So if somebody needs to go into the locker room and have a conversation, and if truly these people who all over the place are shouting and saying that they want to lead Kenya, Kenyans do not see clearly that you care for them. With the example of Kibaki and Dirito Morehi that you give, Kenyans cannot see that. They can't see it. They don't believe that it is for the prosperity and betterment of Kenya that we see all this thing that we are seeing over the last couple of months, and that we're going to see all this thing that we see for the next 1 year. Kenyans don't believe it.
If I was a candidate, I would just take what you have said down and lead it 10 times and try to do exactly what you are calling upon. That's my problem. We are spending a lot of time trying to say that we are united, and we are not telling Kenyans why we are united. I know the removal of Kasongo is first and foremost, but I'm also saying that is a resolve Kenyans have made. Please don't write on that. Don't write on that resolve. Bring your agenda. And I want to see you and say, when I see you, what is the name of this guy who was elected mayor in New York? However controversial he was, Mamdani.
Yes.
Alexander Mamdani.
Yes.
I want, when I see you, I see what is defining you is affordability. When I see you as Trump, is immigration. What's defining our candidates?
Right.
And since I'm not a candidate, I do not want to answer that. But I'm a candidate whom I'm campaigning for.
Yes.
And we are certain that in the coming days, coming weeks, we have meetings that are going. We will certainly be able to see him and see what defines him. We are happy with the track record. We are happy with his level of integrity. But we now want Kenyans to see him and see what do I want from, what does he stand for?
You have conversations with him. You have conversations
just allow
with
me,
him.
because you may just have rescued Kenyans from the difficulties that we are in.
It's possible.
If that statement had come from me, I would have been accused of being anti-united opposition. But I'm happy that it's coming from Kenyans, from people who are listening to us, and you are now telling us you are not speaking to us. The signaling is not enough. Speak to us, and you can only speak to us by addressing the issues. Let us know what do you stand for. And that's exactly, I do not want to use, Dito Morini is my friend. I think he will have a very easy sailing in Laikipia, even after having joined government. You know, Kenyans are not fools.
No.
Kenyans, mimi nimewangalia na usicheze na wao. They had difficulties with people who joined government when they were invited. Kina Dito Moreithi, Mutahi Kagwe and the rest. But when you listen to them talking about Lee Kinyajui, talking about Dito Moreithi, they are still very impressed about the track records. So what you stand for and not what you as a crowd, you know, the desire to belong to a crowd so that you are put to the next level is what is going to kill us. So I am saying that, and it's a challenge that I've taken as a Secretary General of Jubilee, which has a presidential candidate in the name of Matiang'i. This is a debate we must have. We know what it stands for, but it needs to come out for Kenyans to be able to run to the market with it. And that's what we would want to sit in the back room.
Because you see, like today, SG,
Yes.
and it's good now we finally on the same page, that this Kenya needs to be discussed on ideologies. We must have a paradigm shift whereby we are not just only talking about a person. Yes, we must have people in office. We must look at their track record. We must look at their character. But more so, they must be coming into office to execute an idea that we as Kenyans have voted them in on. And that from the united coalition of the deputies, that's how I refer to them, is clearly not well pronounced. We do not hear of an agenda that speaks to us as Kenyans. And the one term the Ruto must go did not start today. When the impeached deputy president was still in office, we Kenyans, you are saying Zakayo Ashuke. So we are still calling for the change of this regime. We've just progressed along that line, and hopefully we get our right come 10th of August 2027. We have other presidential candidates. And I think when you talk of a choice, Kenyans ought to know, like you're saying, so that we're able to screen, assess, and decide this is the person we want. Boniface Mwangi has said he's going to vie. He says he's calling for the rule of law. Jimmy Wanjigi has said he's going to vie for president. He's speaking to the economy question. We have the incumbent. You know, the United Coalition have not yet agreed who the candidate is going to be, but Jubilee, you are saying we're going to have Matiang'i. We must have this conversation along what do you stand for, as you say. And then, if you are rejected by the people, kindly step away, and they should let what the choice has been done to prevail.
You know, one of the things that have been weighing on us as Jubilee, one is that we have a presidential candidate as a party. And there is a united opposition. So my position is that as a party, sell your own. Let us know what your own stands for. That's what we are trying to do on a daily basis with Fred Matiang'i. The thing that the media must also help us in is where you had put us in a fix before. And you really put me in a fix with the media. Because every time there will be a meeting of the United and I'm not there, you then say Jubilee is going it alone. It's a lone rager. It's the kind of thing. So you put more premium in being seen as a crowd and less on what I stand for as a candidate. If you allow us that room, I want to tell you, in the coming 2-3 weeks, we should be able to say clearly to Kenyans, what does Fred Matiang'i stand for? So that he doesn't also feel like, you know, every time there is a meeting, and it's good to be part of the United, but it should not be the first thing. It should be, I'm going to the United because when I go there, they will be seeing this line of ideology.
It's interesting that you say that, Jeremiah, because, because a stand is not something that can be created, or that people sit in a boardroom and say, okay, this is what your stand will be. A stand is birthed from creed, something that is inherent. You believe that the people should have better. You believe that an economy should be thriving. You believe that it should be bereft of corruption. You believe that your children should go to school unabated. You believe that your health system should thrive. That is not something that people can come together and put on a PowerPoint and say, okay, Fred, this is what your stand is going to be. Let's fix it in the next 3 weeks, then we'll present it to Kenyans. By now, we should have been hearing clearly, unequivocally, that this is what my stand is. You can put it together and, you know, put some eyelashes on it to make it look a little better, but rough should be, this is what it is. And people should be able to hear any word that comes out of your mouth and they know, this is what this person believes in.
I don't know why
I don't have to put it together for somebody to believe it. It should be there.
I don't understand how it is that we are agreeing so much today.
And
let me now say what. That's exactly the thing. If I'm spending too much time in as a place where I'm not able to talk about the things I believe in, not without saying X as the word.
Yes.
But if I have more time on Spice, more time with the people in town hall meetings, more time with university students talking about, eventually you say this is what this person believes in. But if a lot of the time I'm spending it with a group you want me to be a part of the choir, then you never know where can I help in the choir. And that is what I'm saying. If you people in the media release us a little bit more so that what you want to know, what does this person speak? What does he stand for? And engage the individuals more. And that's also what we want to do with the Jubilee. When you say 2-3 weeks, it's not to sit in a boardroom, but it's to try and expose this person, let him be out there speaking to people so that they can now see what does he stand for, what can they pick. And I will tell you, I had a conversation with somebody who is in South Africa this morning. The only conversation I had from 5 o'clock. And we came up to the same conclusion, that we now need this. Exactly what you have said. You don't go saying I stand for integrity, but what you keep telling people should eventually let people, you should win the confidence of Kenyans that when you sit in office, I would certainly go for a loan because I believe that I'll be able to repay the loan.
Yes.
Not because you have told me, but because I have faith in the way you manage your affairs. So that's the kind of thing. And I'm saying we have, I don't want to say this because again, out there you'll be so told that you're insulting. What I am about to say is that we must go to Bere and campaign for our candidates. We must go to Narok and campaign for our candidates. We must go, but better outcome, whether it is won by the opposition of UDA, will not define 2027. I would rather spend time saying what, engaging people, listening to their views, giving ideas, so that they can define me something. That way, I'll make it easier for them to make a decision come 2027. I want to see Fred Matiang'i do the same, because it becomes easier going to 2027. You don't want to flog a thing that cannot move in the market. As a party, when we were getting to endorse him as NEC and also go to Mulanga and endorse him, is one of the statements that was said by the former president is, he is a worker. I know he is a worker. That's why I'll be behind him, because he is a worker. And if it is working, I can tell you he is a worker. But this needs to come out from the people, wa Kenya wenyewe, so that when you are going to cast the ballot, it becomes easier. So the challenge is also to us as a party. And this is not hii si mchezo. These Kenyans we are tired. I'm also tired of what I'm seeing being done by the people in power. I really want a change, and I really want a change to be useful to Kenyans. And I don't want to be party to kufuga macho na kwenda kujificha nyuma yako. No. And I want to tell you, kuwa juu ya gari, and it's a good campaign thing. Kuwa juu ya gari does not help Kenyans understand you. Because there you have to go on top and tell stories, be funny, make them laugh. But it's not laughter that is going to get us out of the difficulties we are.
But again, I'm just wondering, because so therefore, what should we see in the next coming days?
Can you also organize debates for these people? Get them into debates.
The presidential...
like the three of us, we are here.
Yes.
If they really want to help this country, let them also sign up to debates, not one. And at all levels, Kiswahili radio station, vernaculars where they can speak the same language, so that Kenyans can start getting to the issues. Tuachane na hii maneno ya kutupiana majina, kuita huyu hurubaro, kuita huyu pikipiki, ule mwingine ni kuita kodo. Tuachane na hiyo maneno. We get them engaging on issues and see what do these people stand for. I mean, I like mother, for example. Kenyans may not have resonated with it, but when I see mother, I see a person who will not want any corruption activity around her. It is taken her some while to define herself that way. But we need these people. We need, I see Matiang'i is a worker. He's a person who, but a lot of propaganda is also being thrown around. But it will be good to have all of them so that those of us who are not at the same level of reasoning can be able to make these decisions.
Indeed.
Na waomba kwa jina ya Mungu, tafadhali leteni watu waongee kwa Kenya. Let us as a country make the right decision. The fact that I'm backing Matiang'i and I'm going to campaign for him does not mean that denies other people to make their choices. And if we are able to get many of the Kenyans behind him and having assigned a standard which we will use for him when he's office, I think that way we may move. It has happened before, it can happen again.
Indeed. He's Secretary General of the Jubilee Party, Jeremiah Kioni. Thank you for being here with us this morning to have that conversation. Indeed.
Yani imekwisha.
Imagine. Time flies when you're having fun, they say.
I'll come back soon.
Thank you so much.
It's a minute past 9
And you are doing well, you people. This kind of debate, that's a wonderful kind of debate. Fred was here, he was also very happy with the debate. Kwa hivyo hata nyinyi mnaendelea mzuri.
Asante.
Mungu awabariki.
Tunazoea kukaa pande hiyo na wewe leo
Nimechaga.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.